Imagine the Chase Center lights dimming, every Dub Nation heartbeat synchronizing in tense anticipation because what's unfolding behind the scenes at Golden State's 41st pick in the 2025 NBA Draft is nothing short of extraordinary a pivot point that could either forge a new chapter in dynasty glory or mark the beginning of a seismic shift in the franchise's fate. Welcome back to Warriors News Fan Report, where raw truths collide with splash-era passion. Smash that like button, subscribe, and ring the bell so your heart never misses a beat. Because this isn't just another draft pick. It's a high-stakes gambit in a battle against time, aging stars, and an unforgiving Western Conference hungry to dethrone the Splash Brothers' reign. The 41st pick, often dismissed as a footnote, has never carried this much weight. Consider the pressure cooker that is Golden State right now. Steph Curry, still defying father time with a career-high 32.3 points per game this season. Klay Thompson battling through a soul-crushing comeback that has Dub Nation holding its breath every possession. And Draymond Green, the relentless, defensive maestro pushing to extend the dynasty beyond the inevitable march of age and mileage, with 8.1 boards and 9.7 assists, still orchestrating chaos for opponents. Behind them, restless eyes are watching. A core teetering on transition, desperately needing fresh, decisive talent to bridge the gap between glory and decline. Last year's quiet sensation Quinto Post took second-round whispers and transformed them into undeniable impact, flipping the script on what this draft territory can deliver, a fact not lost on the front office as they scour the 2025 class for that elusive blend of immediate readiness and long-term promise. And that spotlight now swings ominously to 5 darkhorse candidates, each a potential key but with vastly different blueprints and risks. First, Kobe Bree, a sniper whose laser-guided, clutch three-point stroke hovers between elite 43 to 44%, dropping daggers off the dribble and under siege, the kind of floor spacing and off-ball wizardry that could finally give Curry a lethal partner to stretch defenses to their breaking point. Imagine a cold-blooded sharpshooter routinely cracking open lanes for Wiggins, whose own 20-point grind this season is shadowed by efficiency questions. But then the narrative twists to San James, a defense-first, blue-collar force embodying the ferocity from We Believe to recent playoff wars, bringing coveted 6'4" perimeter lockdown and switchability while threatening to shatter the tired stereotype of defensive specialist who can't shoot with his evolving 40% mark from deep. Could James be the galvanizing presence to plug Golden State's most glaring holes, especially on brutal West Coast road trips where defense wins or loses titles? Yet that brings tension. Can Steve Kerr, with his famously cerebral, delicate locker room chemistry, harness this fiery green energy without tipping the sometimes brittle harmony into costly foul trouble or fracturing the team's mojo? As the mental chessboard unfolds, Chaz Lanier emerges, an offensive wildfire, boasting an explosive vertical leap nearly 40 inches and a deep arsenal mid-range. Bombs reminiscent of Tim Hardaway Jr. Lanier would inject raw offensive juice where Golden State's wing scoring has sputtered post-Curry and Klay ascendancy. But here's the catch: defense remains a wild card, a gamble Kerr must measure carefully. Because can the Warriors afford defensive lapses again when every Western Conference rival has doubled down on stifling defense? Then there's Kobe Sanders, the cerebral combo guard from San Diego State. Less glamorous, but with a baseline stabilizing, Shaq Livingston, JaVale McGee type steady hand, extraordinary assist-to-turnover ratio, and pick-and-roll mastery that could anchor a second unit all too often folding under playoff pressure. Could Sanders be the quiet compass amid chaos, the disciplined glue to steady a roster gasping for composure when the Splash Brothers exhale? And finally, the wild card Micah Peavy, the intimidating paint predator whose 57% efficiency on rim attacks recalls the bruising edge Golden State has missed since Draymond's prime interior dominance. A mature physical talent on the cusp of 24, potentially ready to unleash a gritty toughness this roster desperately needs. But Peavy's slower shooting mechanics and defensive length worries Spark alarm bells. Does Kerr's system have room for rawness this deep into years of contender calibration? Could the clock run out on his development? Or is his ready-now aggression the missing spark amid whispers that a Jimmy Butler trade could further shake the deck? And just when you think you've unraveled this intricate web, here comes Sotto Day. Filipino phenom, whose rise from dusty courts of the Philippines to dominance in Japan's B-League rockets him into draft conversation as no ordinary prospect. He fuses size, skill, and a basketball IQ that screams NB ready, redefining the modern center mold with rim protection, smart passing in transition, and an evolving mid-range touch that could perfectly complement Draymond's defensive wizardry and Curry's unmatched defense. But Sotto isn't just about stats. He symbolizes a cultural and marketing wave, a global bridge opening doors for Warriors fandom in an underrepresented demographic, a fresh swell of passion hungry for championship glory. Yet amidst this excitement, the unrelenting truths clamp down the merciless clock. The brutal pace of NBA adaptation that have felled stars like Harden and Durant. The narrowing window with the core aging and the injury cloud heavy over Clay and others. Front office whispers speak of deep dives into analytics, player tracking data, the elusive chemistry factor beyond box score stats, the intangible spark that morphs a good season into an unforgettable title run. Remember the haunting playoff heartbreaks. The 2016 finals collapsed with defensive lapses and shooting droughts that shattered dreams. Every single pick in 2025 carries the weight of that pain, sharpening what is essentially a ruthless calculus where every gamble could either revive the dynasty's fading light or accelerate its fall. Could this 41st pick be the silent pivot, ushering in a dominance even the KD era couldn't match? Could the arrival of a lethal sharpshooter finally unlock Curry's final chapter? Or does the franchise double down on defense and toughness with James's relentless blue-collar intensity? Does Lanier's offensive flair compensate for his defensive gambles? Or is it Sanders' refined game management and pick-and-roll savvy that give the Warriors the second-unit stability so painfully missing? And in this complex mosaic, PVs, physicality, and Sotto's international intrigue add layers of complexity. Can the system nurture their rawness without compromising the razor-thin balance? The financial stakes roar louder than ever with looming salary cap headaches, and the pressure to truly contend, not just make playoffs against fearsome foes like the Suns, Nuggets, Lakers, and young OKC Guns, has Golden State's front office hunched over reports, searching for that ineffable fit, measuring every heartbeat, breakaway, and crunch time moment. As a lifelong Dub Nation believer who lived through the We Believe revolution, celebrated the KD era's towering dominance, and sweat every minute of Clay's grueling return, my pulse races just writing this, imagining the hands lifting that 41st pick to the podium, and the name echoing through the rafters as a beacon of hope. Is this the spark that reignites our dynasty, reclaims our throne, or the crack that fractures a legacy barely held together by grit and glory? Are we ready to embrace the unknown, ride this high-stakes chess game, or brace for reckoning? Drop your unfiltered takes in the comments. I'll be right there, heart in hand. Every word, every fight, every electric moment in this unfolding saga that could define the Warriors' next grand chapter. If your heart just skipped a beat thinking about what that 41st pick could mean for the last stand of the Splash Brothers era, get loud down below and let's spark this firestorm. Because no matter which way you swing it, this moment feels like the most fragile yet explosive crossroads Golden State has faced since the winds of 2019 first whispered end of an era after that brutal KD departure. What if, just what if, nailing this pick is the secret ingredient that flips the script and writes the dynasty's final chapter in bold, unyielding gold? Or darker still, what if this chess move fractures the fragile chemistry that Kerr has, so delicately stitched together over these last twisting seasons? Imagine what this throws into the locker room cauldron, a prospect like Kobe Bree lighting up the floor with his frozen cold stroke, slicing defenses with a surgical precision. that hasn't been seen since Clay at his MVP peak. Could he at last give Steph that next-level partner to run with? Someone who drags out defenders and ignites the offense in ways Wiggins' bursts just haven't sustained? But the flip side shivers down my spine. How does that static sharpshooting gel with a team that's counting on defensive grit just as much as splash? Could Bree's offense-heavy profile tip the balance toward another late-game defensive collapse like 2016's nightmare, where the Warriors' porous D turned the 3-1 lead into heartbreak? And then there's San James, the blue-collar dynamo who oozes "we believe" heart and plays with that edge Draymond screams for every possession. If James locks down opposing wings on the switch-heavy, mash-it-up defensive schemes Kerr loves, is he the guardian this team needs on brutal back-to-backs and those soul-sapping Western Conference road warriors? But every time I imagine James's fiery intensity, I hear the whispers of locker room caution. Can Kerr, the maestro of balance and calm, contain that wildfire without burning the fragile locker room peace the Warriors crafted over nearly a decade? Is there room for that crazed defense-first wild card on a squad with aging stars who need leadership, not volatility? Then slide over to Chaz Lanier, picture an offensive outburst that drops in like a thunderclap out of nowhere. A near 40-inch leap and a gem catalog of mid-range shots that brings a Hardaway Jr.-S flair to the wings, waking up an offense that sputtered through extended Clay absences and limiting Curry to carrying the load. But, oh man, that defense question again. Does this team risk late-game lapses and turnovers for moments of offensive brilliance? Can a pick like Lanier mask defensive lapses in a West that has turned into a suffocating fortress, especially with teams like the Suns and Nuggets ferreting out every weakness? Speaking of the West, have you seen the standings drama this year? The Mavs, Lakers, Young Thunder, and reigning champs Suns all grinding punches, reminding us all that no lead is safe and no playoff berth is guaranteed. The Warriors, with a core aging but still electric, can't afford another choke. And Sanders, the quiet cerebral combo guard from SDSU, is the pick that makes me think. Here's the glue, the calm eye of the storm. His assist-to-turnover ratio screams steady hands. The pick-and-roll mastery that could finally steady the shaky second unit that folds like paper at playoff heat. But is there a danger that too much steadiness means not enough spark? Can Sanders become the coach on the floor that this squad almost demands? Right now, someone who masks aging legs and orchestrates chaos into calm under the most pressure-packed moment. And then the wild card of all wild cards, Micah Pevia. Gritty, bruising force at the rim, bringing a 57% efficiency in rim attacks that hints at the kind of interior muscle Golden State has sorely missed since Draymond's peak. Could Peavy's raw physicality be the defensive yin to the offensive yang of Curry and company? But folks, those slower shooting mechanics and defensive length worries make me question if Kerr's system, typically a paragon of precision movement and space, has room for this rough diamond. Does Peavy's possible too much too late stigma come into play? Could he break through or break down this finely tuned contender system? And then, as though the story couldn't get any richer, there's Sotto, the Filipino phenom, who might just be the ultimate high-stakes bet. This kid isn't just about basketball skill content. He's about cultural bridge building, representing an emerging global basketball frontier, and feeding an entirely new wave of Dub Nation fever that could shift marketing, fan base, and media angles for years to come. Pairing him alongside Draymond's defensive wizardry reshapes the Warrior big man identity. Pairing him with Curry's offense could ignite fast breaks and new passing lanes we're starving for. Still, the pressure is monumentally high this. Pitt carries expectations not just of points and rebounds, but of a movement that stretches from the Bay to Manila and beyond. But oh, the pain we carry the ghosts of 2016, the heartbreaks at Chase Center's electric nights. Clay's grueling comeback fights that drained soul and spark through these memories haunt every executive meeting, every fevered mock draft turning what could be a celebration into a desperate gamble, and a ticking clock. Steph is still lighting it up with a career-high 32.3 ppg, but the durability concerns hover like a shadow. Klay's timber-thin health edge could break a single sprint away. Draymond's relentless grind wears on spines and knees alike. The clock is cruel and unforgiving. Curry's masterpiece of infinite stamina and mind-blowing shooting might just squeeze out a few more highlight reel seasons. Or will this pick be the one bringing a fresh crescendo that compensates when the old guards finally bow out? The front office has to weigh all this, the cap constraints that could choke future moves, the tantalizing Jimmy Butler trade rumors swirling like storm clouds ready to blow wide open, the delicate handling of a locker room rich in legacy but riddled. We're stepping on ego's tensions. How does Kerr stay calm, maintain the zen-like chemistry that's been this era's lifeblood, while injecting new blood that might feel like an earthquake rolling through this veteran core? This is the gauntlet, the crossroads, where ambition meets reality. We're not just drafting a player. We're drafting a potential legacy-defining moment, a decision that might echo louder than any Curry buzzer beater or Thompson scoring spree. From 5 straight finals and that transcendent KD-era dominance, to this raw, heart-wrenching battle for relevancy edged with hope and dread. How did we get here? And more burning, how will we fight back? As someone who screamed, "We believe," before it was cool, who wept with Klay during his sideline soul-searching, who sat through every knotted tension of a dynasty fading or reforming, I feel this moment pulsing in my veins. This isn't just another lottery pick. It's the potential genesis of a new era or the harbinger of a legacy's twilight. This is what makes being a Warriors fan both excruciating and exhilarating. So now I'm throwing it to you. What do you see when that name is called? Are you ready to cheer a sharpshooter into the sunset? Bank on heart-first defense, bet on the steady hand, roll the dice on raw aggression? Or are you swept up in Sotto's cultural tidal wave? I want every raw, unfiltered thought in the comments. We're not just fans. We're the heartbeat of this franchise. And this story is ours to tell with every furious, passionate word. Let's get it!